Hey team, a very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. Your USD is pushing up since the Asian session back in towards the highs from the overall 4-hour order flow, and we are currently situated within this 4-hour demand zone, which is our overall sell down before the big buy up, with the internal liquidity low taken over here. Now, from this region, there is potential for Euro USD now to head up higher once again, and I do still see further upside potential for Euro USD back up towards the main bump in the road, which is this high over here. Now, for me, it is clear the current internal market structure on Euro USD remains bullish, and as long as this remains bullish, I cannot look for a short position. Let's be honest, Euro USD has been pretty slow throughout this week and definitely towards the end of last week. And the main reason for that is because there is a lot of data coming out for the US this week. And there are also a lot of speeches being held this week related to the dollar. So that's why Euro USD is mainly waiting for this information to be released, after which I'll be expecting some bigger movements on this pair. But for now, in the immediate to short term, I'm still looking for some short term upside towards the overall internal bump in the road, which is situated over here. And after that high gets taken, then I'll be happy to look for potential shorting opportunity. Now, we're still situated within this demand zone, and that is currently causing Euro USD to find support. If this demand zone fills and we break the black line over here, that is the moment where I'll be happy to shift my bias, look for potential short position to then further look for downside here on Euro USD, as the internal order flow will then have been broken. As simple as that. So if you are looking to trade Euro USD at the moment, I would be only looking at further longs, with potentially your stop loss underneath the low over here, targeting the overall internal liquidity high over here. That would look something like this over here. Now, obviously, a 1 to 1.5 risk reward is not the best in the world, but it is something, and obviously you can refine it based on your own strategy. Though I must say the highest probability trade will come if we break the overall order flow and then look for shorts, or once we see the overall internal high here get taken. Those are the highest probability trades. The real high probability longs, next to the fact that you could take some short-term longs, from the current location in towards the overall high. This is obviously the first position. Then the real overall longs, those will come, in my opinion, once we break above the overall 3-monthly open, retest, and then we can look for another long position back up towards around 1.20. Those are longs that I'll be taking in the future if we see the overall 3-monthly level broken and the overall daily internal market structure shift as well. Okay, so that's currently what I'm waiting for. Potential shorts are still on the table, but with an intraday long opportunity, and then the longer term longs, those will come once we break the overall daily area of supply, which is this buy up before the strong sell down. So that's what I personally have for Euro USD, because again, don't forget that we kind of have conflicting interests of the different time frames. On the daily time frame, the market structure is bullish. We retraced into discount pricing, so underneath the 0.5 fib, and we came into the final liquidity low. From this liquidity low, we've now seen a push up of around 125 pips, and there's still, simply said, potential for Euro USD to continue pushing up higher, because the intraday time frame, the 4-hour time frame, aligns. And what I'm talking about with the intraday time frame, I'm talking more about, let's say, the 4-hour/1 hour internal order flow. That aligns with what the daily swing structure is telling us, right? That we can see that higher prices, or those higher prices. So keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on this demand that is currently in control, because that aligns ultimately with what the daily swing structure is telling us. And then the only short that you're really wanting to be taking is from that key level of around 1.17 back in towards the downside, if you get that bearish confirmation, or if we already see that lower time frame confirmation with the 4-hour order flow shift happening with a demand failure here, because then that would mean that we would have a potential supply zone as this over here. Okay, so yeah, those are the potential positions that we can take on Euro USD. Now, going into the dollar index, Euro USD pushing higher means dollar index is pushing down a little bit lower for now. As we can see, we've just been trickling up higher and higher. Currently, we are still in this area of 4-hour supply, which is your buy up for the strong sell down. Within this supply zone, we're still expecting ultimately for the market to head down lower, because as long as the supply is in control, what you expect lower prices, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, potential lower low once again, right? Market structure is, again, extremely complicated. It's more kind of like of a range / expanding pattern that we have over here. And this could again push the market down lower because supply is still in control, and we still have the monthly open here. But if we see the dollar index finally break the overall order flow, break above this high, retest, boom, that's the moment that we can look for longs finally. So still, same analysis as yesterday. Do we break it? We can look for the longs. Otherwise, in the short term, we can still look for downside towards the blue dotted line. Okay, so that is the dollar index. Now, taking that into account, we can look at GU. GU has been extremely consolidative, not a pair that I'm really looking to trade at the moment. It's stuck. So don't get caught up in that overall range. Again, preferably, I would still see higher prices on GBPUSD back up towards some internal liquidity, for example, here, free monthly open, or this high over here. Those for me are kind of like the main points of focus. So this blue dotted line here, this one here, or this one here. Those are kind of like the main highs that I'm focusing on for the future to then look for some new short positions once again. That for me has the focus on GU from current levels. I just really don't find it interesting to trade. AUD/USD, so AUD/USD sold off yesterday evening after we saw a massive risk off push. So the markets have been a little bit complicated. Crypto, as you can see, has been dumping in towards the downside again last night. We've also seen the stock market. So for example, if you look at US 30, a dump in towards the downside as well. So what you then see in these kind of situations where we see these dumps is that the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar also take a hit against, for example, those safe haven currencies such as the Japanese yen or the Swiss franc. So what I'm now looking at here on Aussie dollar, again, I've said it many times, I'm not the biggest fan of this pair. It's kind of stuck. We have some demand in this area of consolidation, extend that zone right, and then you would expect the market to head up higher. The monthly open here acting as resistance, the free monthly open here acting as resistance. For me, if I'm just very honest, like again, yes, still we have impulsive phase in towards the highs. So ultimately you would expect the new impulsive phase to start in towards the highs again, due to the fact that the swing structure is bullish between this low and this high, and the fact that we retraced into discount pricing. Though I must say, for me, it's kind of like developing more into an area of consolidation where this is just one big fat range. We kind of had a manipulation here on the highs, and who knows, we could still manipulate on the overall lows. For me, this is just a no real trading pair at the moment. I don't know if that even is good English, but if you look at the market structure here on AU, throughout this entire year, pretty much since April, it's actually just moving sideways. So it's not really a pair that I'm really a big fan of trading at the moment. All I know is that we're more at the lower bound of the range as opposed to the higher bound of the range. So I will be looking for some longs soon, but I would only be looking for longs once we maybe swipe some lower lows. Then NZDUSD. NZDUSD, on the other hand, is trending much more. Last night, again, that sell-off happened. For now, still looking for some more upside here on the NU. Also extremely consolidative, but still looking for this to push up higher. Market structure is a little bit ruined, but I'm still looking for this to push up higher towards the monthly open and towards the internal liquidity highs from the higher levels for now. That hold my main focus at the moment. So pretty much just still expecting the overall kind of like consolidative phase / reaccumulation phase to hold on for a bit longer. And then from higher prices, we'll be looking for a new shorting opportunity again from, for example, that overall monthly open with our stop loss well above the overall swing high to then target the overall yearly open. So that's a position that I'm waiting for. Then we have USD CAD. So USD CAD pushed up higher again last night. It's now dumping once again. Or dumping is just making a pullback back down in towards demand. It could still push even lower in towards the equal lows that we have positioned over here, and then from there we could look maybe for another bounce back up again. For now, it's just waiting for the dollar to kind of like break out. The reason that USD CAD is moving so slow is again because it's very dependent on what the dollar index is going to do. With the dollar index currently still in a supply chain down lower, it's already a miracle that dollar CAD has been moving this bullish. So let's just wait with getting some real new entries. Last night, I think this position was around 1.5% at peak profit. And then the swing position in itself with the wider stop loss, that was around 0.5% peak profit. So yeah, let's see what this thing does. USD CAD still my favorite pick out of pretty much all of the pairs. Then we have, of course, USDCHF. This thing is not my favorite. It's currently at the free monthly open. Reacted to it. I mean, still, we can still see that swing down, overall retracement phase, and now we're just looking for the next swing down. It still makes sense to sell off this thing. is at the free monthly open. Potentially wait for the 4-hour change of character to happen. So what I mean by that is that here you have internal liquidity. Here you have internal liquidity. This is a nice one because it aligns with the free monthly open. Now wait, for example, for this low to break with momentum, and then you could look for another short in towards the downside. Then we have USDJPY. So USDJPY headed up higher, as we discussed in yesterday's video, to take out the liquidity that was resting above 155, because again, in the news, there was a lot of talk about 155 being a major intervention level, whatever. So everybody starts selling, and then as you can see, we still push back up in towards the highs. This thing is obviously still bullish, but the momentum is kind of like dying down in a way, if you see what I mean. Like retracement phase very small, impulsive phase very, very small. We've seen the breaker structure, so again, it's not my favorite area to look for longs. You can see that the differences between what we're seeing now and what we've seen in the past is, in the past we had these massive impulses. Obviously also a big reaccumulation phase, but massive impulses. And now what's happening more is that we're just kind of like squeezing in towards the highs. So I never really like these squeezes in towards the highs. More often than not, it will just at some point in time make a big correction. Though I must say, I'm still preferring one more push up towards the yearly open to then look, for example, for shorts from there. So I mean, just follow the overall order flow for now, because we are still bullish and demand still remains in control. This here is still kind of like the demand that is in control. It's a strong demand zone because it liquidated the low here to the left. So ultimately, you're still just looking for longs only. You cannot look for shorts in this situation at the moment until we see something else. So I would prefer one more push up again, and we'll look for some positions on this later. It's not ideally priced at the moment. And then, of course, we have gold. So gold, again, sold off. It seems that these overcrowded trades are really taking a hit in the sense of gold longs, Bitcoin longs, stock market longs. Now, with gold, we're currently situated in daily demand and on the monthly open. So from here, and I highlighted this again in yesterday's video as well, we've now taken out this internal low. Again, this internal low here as well. We've reacted to the monthly open. I'm now waiting for the overall order flow shift, fractal structure shifts, then look for a long position back in towards the highs with this internal high, my first target, and then the second high this here being my target. So yeah, looking for longs on gold once the 4-hour fractal structure breaks, and then I'll be looking for those entries on the 1-hour time frame from the monthly open and from the 1-hour fractal structure shift as well, squeezing in towards the lows. So let's see if we can get a momentum breakout in towards the highs. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Keep you guys posted inside Discord. Make sure to join that where the real value is shared. Thanks for watching as always, and speak soon.